So, for those who have not seen the movie Sixth Sense or A Beautiful Mind, I strongly urge you to make an effort and go see both of those movies. And for those who have seen the movie, I want to point out to a specific phenomena. In the case of Sixth Sense, when Malcolm, Bruce Willis, actually discovers, or you discover, that he's dead. In A Beautiful Mind, when you realize the truth about John Nash. Both those phenomena are mind-bogglingly extraordinary. The moment you realize that, there's a rush. It's almost like a dopamine effect. I call it the blind spot, or the discovery of the blind spot. Now, as you would realize, blind spots have tremendous amount of capacity for destruction as well as construction. They can bring out amazing things for you and completely decimate you. These are highly unrecognized, ununderstood phenomena, but they do happen. And when we can leverage them to our advantage, we can make tremendous difference in our lives. So I'm going to share with you some stories, and you might find parallels in your own life. You might feel that you have lived some of those same things to a more extent or a less, and you might be living that at the moment as well. What's important is, though, to realize that very intelligent people can experience these phenomena. And how that happens is so incredulous to even understand, as you will see in these stories. But before we get into the stories, I want to take a minute to have you experience this phenomena that I'm talking about. Okay, just do it with me as I speak or as I talk. On the screen, you will see a dot and a plus symbol. Now, what I'd like you to do is to close your right eye with your palm, and you look at the plus symbol. Now go closer to the image. Keep going closer to the image, and as you will go closer, you will recognize at some point that the dot disappears. And if you go any closer, you will find the dot reappears. This is what's called a blind spot. Our mind, the human mind, is an instrument. And it can do amazing things, yet at the same time it's just an instrument, and with lots of peculiarities and inefficiencies and incapabilities. Unfortunately, we identify ourselves with our feelings, with our intellect, with our mind, whereas the truth is, it is just an instrument for your use. And when we learn to recognize that, we are able to use that instrument just like we would use any other instrument. And therein lies the catch. Now, the first story I want to share with you is about a very well-known figure, in fact, one of the top, most influential humans of the last century, Henry Ford. We all know he was an innovator, and he brought the automobiles pretty much to the market. But do you know that he lost over 75% of the market? Left with only 10% by the end of almost 15-year period, where he insisted upon selling only the black color, despite the warnings and advice of a lot of his friends and associates. In fact, he's known to have gone into fits of rage anytime anyone mentioned any other color or any changes to his Ford Model T. Now, obviously an intelligent man, right? Why would he do such a thing? Why would he wait 15 years and lose what in today's terms would be God knows how many millions, billions of dollars, but essentially losing 75% of the market? He had originally 85 and was left with just about 10% by the time he changed the color on his cars and any other changes to the Ford Model T. I would call it a blind spot. Now, we all know about Steve Jobs' peculiar personality. But do you know that he could have been alive today? In fact, he regretted his decision to stick with alternative medicine and abhorring the Western or the traditional medicine that works for cancer, that has proven methods. Those 9 months were critical. In fact, he regretted making that choice towards the end of his life, as per his biographer. But we do realize that some kind of a blind spot must have forced him to make this mistake. Otherwise, this was about his life. How can a man as intelligent as him do such a thing? Now, this one particular story that I'm relating to you is iconic. In fact, it's one of the most well-regarded, well-known events in US history. It's called Custer's Last Stand. General Custer was one of actually the youngest general ever in the US history, and also known to be a heroic, courageous human being. But the truth is far from that, far from courage, honor, and commitment. The truth is one of arrogance and plain idiocy, because the stories is largely manufactured. The truth is that this man took 210 men to fight thousands of enemies with better weapons while receiving intelligence and information as well as order not to do so. He went into the battle and got all his men slaughtered, in fact, dismembered and skinned, including himself as well. Now, why would someone do something like that?
Was he courageous? Yes, without doubt. But heroic? He was not. That would belong to all the men who displayed honor on the battlefield and followed their leader. Custer simply was not able to see the impending doom, and that certainly is not the hallmark of a great leader.
Up until the start of 2008, Dick Fuld was known as Mr. Wall Street. So many different magazines, barons, and others, institutional investors, named him amongst the top private sector CEOs and top 30 CEOs ever. He was highly regarded. And within a very short period of time, CNN called him the top 10 most wanted men for the 2008 financial crisis. What happened? Lehman Brothers collapsed. What happened? He was given so many warnings. In fact, one of the biographers tells us, or actually not a biographer, but a particular writer who worked for Lehman Brothers, talks about how he would ask his chief risk officer to leave the room when he would have discussions, because he did not want to hear anything about what was going to happen. He had lots of warnings. And being that successful, still he ignored all of that. What would lead a man to ignore such warnings? Is it possible that we ourselves are ignoring lots of warnings that are coming our way, but we're simply refusing to see or are unable to see? Now, the next story is one that is extremely well known in certain circles of Ron Johnson, the architect of Apple retail stores. Hugely successful. He was hired by JCPenney to turn it around. It was already hurting. It was a battered company. And what is said is that he took a battered company and put fire to it, or lit it on fire. The company, in his time of 17 months, lost 50% of its market cap. All the senior executives left. Almost 20,000 people were let go. And finally, he had to be fired in disgrace as well. And what we understand by the analysis of what really happened is that he completely ignored the customers, which any business person knows that you cannot ignore customers. But he ignored customers. He ignored history and insisted upon his own grand vision. Great idea to have your visions, but what happened? Why did you see just the plus symbol and not the dot? Why is it that some people can see the plus and the dot? Why is it that sometimes we can see it and not other times? And those are the questions we want to answer in the series of videos where we will talk about the neurochemical underpinnings of this and how we can go about making ourselves more robust. Now, not all blind spots are of this kind, the kind of blind spots that I call precipice blind spots. But the other kind I call gateway blind spots, the upside blind spots, the blind spots where we're not seeing the gateway, we're not seeing the gateway to glory, to greatness, simply because we are refusing to see or unable to see or somewhere stuck, so that we can't see the path forward that can get you what you want and more. These are the kind of blind spots that common people are more likely to be experiencing without knowing. Well, of course, common man also suffers the precipice blind spots oftentimes, but their tragedies perhaps are not as well known to the outside world. Perhaps they know it themselves like I do. I suffered both. In fact, my personal precipice blind spot completely destroyed my life after 24 years of marriage. And the other blind spot that I suffered, the gateway blind spot, fortunately I know one of them because I discovered, and that changed the entire course of my life. And I am so thankful that I was able to see it that way. And I have figured out some methodologies that I would love to share with you at some point. But let's go over some of the other people's gateway blind spots, the ones that were discovered. For example, there was a printing company, and the salesperson saw something was missing. What he saw is that their printed material were running on low margins and they were unused. So he dug deep and found out that what he could do is to change the business model. Instead of selling promotional printed material, why not we become installers of promotional material? And in doing so, they will deal with senior management, and lo and behold, the company actually grew multiple folds and got great amount of success as well as profitability. Another example comes to mind is of a cement company where the CEO decided that instead of focusing on delivery of a commodity, let's use the Domino's model of delivery at a certain point in time, because nobody needs cement. People need what cement does for them. And in achieving that goal, what they need is cement at a certain time and in a certain way. Now, allowing that to happen, that whole product to happen as opposed to simply delivering a commodity, helped the company grow 13 folds within, I believe, 10 years of time. This was a regional company and then ended up becoming a global organization. And the last example is of Katy Perry, to make it more personal, more human, as opposed to institutional. She was always a great singer, but her initial failure was the reason that she moved away from gospel singing to the commercial genre. And doing so, you already know the kind of success she achieved. It is entirely possible that she could have stayed stuck there. But innovative people try to see and push the envelope and say, what else can I do? What am I missing? How else can I do things? What am I not seeing? And that's the purpose of this series of videos that I am sharing with you. I hope you enjoyed this set of stories, and I hope to see you again with more details about the neurochemical underpinnings, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, the adrenaline, the cortisol, and endorphins. How these chemicals are actually influencing your blind spots, and how you can figure out to bypass what they are doing and be able to see that which you're not seeing. Because what you're not seeing could really destroy you or could take you to glory. Thank you.